Good and fair evening, children. Welcome back to the tavern. I hope that you're all doing well. Frost, good to see you. Teresa, welcome in. Destiny, hello, love. Good to see you. The bear has joined us. Erin, hello. Erin, Matty did read in. All right. And then let's see. Erin, did you say you're drunk? That's the news? Okay, well. You get a drunk Erin. Well, we love Erin in all forms as long as she's taking care of herself and not hurting herself. Mary Beth, hello, welcome in, good to see you. Let's give Matty a toot on the raid horns and get ready in. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. Josh, how you doing, my friend? I'm doing well. Jen X Donna. I'll call you Donna, because Jen is a bit of an odd name, but... Hello and welcome in. I am well. I do apologize for being late. Normally, the lady and I like to be on the new schedule is about 4, but we had a family obligation today, so we ended up out of the tavern for a few hours. We got back about an hour and a half ago, and I had some things I needed to finish before I got on to see all of you, just to make sure that I was all fresh and clean and beautiful for you. Where I am, it is presently 5:58. I am on the west coast of the United States, and we are in the Pacific Standard Time Zone. I got drunk Donald, so you went to McDonald's drunk is what you're saying? Also, I'm at the climax of my book, which will be altered a bit. Well, I look forward to seeing it. Oh, so you're over on the East Coast? Very well. Actually, a good number of tavern patrons live on the East Coast of the United States. Milo, hello. You got fancy? I always try to get fancy for you guys, but usually I just come in here all tired and old. Which, to be fair, I am tired and old, so I'm presenting myself as I am. But I still try to be fancy and nice smelling for all of you. A burger and some fries and 2 snack wraps. You're gonna make yourself sick, Erin. Don't throw up. We're not gonna get into the old chat again. No, we won't. William, hello. West Coast for now. Yeah, West Coast for now. I won't be here forever. Sometime the tavern will be elsewhere. Sydney, hello. Good to see you. You will most definitely, with being drunk and doing McDonald's, you'll definitely be sick tomorrow. Aaron is young and full of alcohol. That will help with the memories. Or the lack thereof, actually. My mom got a fractured foot. Well, that's never fun. One of the worst things you can do is fracture your foot. I don't mean worst overall, just one of the worst injuries is fracturing a foot. Is like cracking a rib, because there's nothing you can do about a cracked rib. You just have to wait for it to heal. Erin is but a baby child and needs to take it. Yes, she does. I'm agreeing. Very good to be. It's always lovely to have you, Sydney. Is it okay to use sugar or sweetie to someone? I want to ask because some people don't like it. Just like me to know. You know what? I tend to think that if you are being polite, I don't particularly care what people call me or if other people what you call other people. As long as it's polite and not rude, I don't really care. Like I grew up in Ireland, it is very, very common for especially older men, if we're speaking to younger women or if we're speaking to women who we're related to, we say my darling. We say how are you today, my darling? And it's just that's how we speak. That's how my grandfather spoke. So all of my uncles spoke. When I moved to the United States, I had to get used to not doing that because people became very offended by it. But love, darling, like these are things that we just call people. So as far as I'm concerned, you can call people whatever you like. The big cuddly Irishman, yeah, that'd be me. I had to wear a walking boot when I fractured my foot. My brother snapped his ankle some years ago. Some of you have been in the community for a while will remember this. My brother snapped his ankle some years ago carrying my nephew down the stairs of our old house. He missed the last step and he landed sideways on his foot and he snapped his ankle and he had to wear a crutch boot for some, I think it was like 6 months. It was very funny. It wasn't funny that he fractured it, but it was fun. The crutch was funny. I think they actually have old videos of us doing TikTok dance trends with him in that boot. Tyson, hello! Somebody else popped in and I missed them. Hang on. Who else did I miss? I may just be here for a bit. I need to say, help my favorite 09 family. We are still losing my nana slowly, so I'm just off. She raised me. Nana actually has always called everyone darling, and I miss hearing it. Yeah, and see, it's sort of more of an old-fashioned thing. You guys know the lady and I were very old-fashioned. Oh, you know, I was looking in the wrong place. It was over on TikTok. Somebody, Sonomi, hello. Ashley, hello. And Jessica, hello. I apologize. I was looking through the other. I was like, I know I saw somebody new come in, but it was over on TikTok. My brain's all messed up because we had a very Esther, hello, welcome in. Good to see you, love. Welcome. Such a bad headache yesterday. I was out like a light for 20 hours. Legit made Erin think I died. It's a legitimate concern. Ashley Cornish, hello, over on Facebook. Hello, welcome in. Good lord, I can't be on for 10 minutes without spammers over on Kick. Shoo, get out of here. No, I don't want cheap viewers. I'm fine. Can't keep up with the viewers I have. We are doing okay. We did lose somebody. It was actually last month that the family member passed away. Luckily, she was very loved. She grew to the ripe age of 96, and she was surrounded by family members throughout all of her last days, and everybody got to spend a good amount of time with her before she went. And all in all, it was as happy a passing as a passing can be. Belinda, hello. We have not started reading it. We were late because the lady and I were at a family memorial service. I'm listening on my way home. I'll jump on Twitch. That's all right, Tyson. Take your time, my friend. Yeah, right, Bear. And again, like, it's an old-fashioned thing. Like, my father was actually from Kentucky. I don't know if I've ever talked about this. But in Kentucky, everybody calls everybody sugar. Sugar. Like, it's a natural part of speech. And so my dad called everybody that. That is an amazing age. Very glad to be surrounded by love. That's what we've been doing with my dad. And really, that's as happy a passing as anybody can have. It's never fun and it's never beautiful it's never a joyous occasion, I should say, to watch somebody you love degrade. But it is always happy when someone can pass away surrounded by those who love them. I'm not saying you're old, Bear, but it is pretty much in your name. Love or sweets. Yeah. I've stopped doing it in recent years. I pretty much just divert to my friend or friend is pretty much how I refer to people. But for people who I know, I still say love. I say darling, because it's point of speech. It's just how we talk. It's not meant to infer anything. I had somebody years ago. She was somebody who was a friend of my brother's, and she's like, I don't like when you call me darling. It makes me feel like you're trying to get at something. And I was like, no desire. It has nothing to do with that. First of all, being polite. Second of all, you're making me not want to be polite, but I'll just refer to you by your name. How's that sound? She's like, well, that might be weird. I was like, well, it's gonna be weird then, because this is the relationship that you started. You made it weird, so now it's weird. I was a sped kid. What is sped? I don't think I know what that is. I am though, mate. So I used to use endearing terms all the time, then times changed and I had to be more careful about it. Right. Which in here, especially with the regulars, I'm never gonna mince my words with all of you. All of you know that I'm crass. You guys know that the lady and I are old fashioned. So I'm not gonna mince words with regulars. It's why all of the mods, most of our mods are most of our barkeeps are some of the ladies of the tavern, and I call all of them love. I call Destiny love. I call Ashley love, and you guys will note that when we're on Storytime, I distinctly refer to Una as Lovey, because it's to distinguish the difference during point of speech. Thank you, Belinda. I appreciate it. And again, it could not have been a more happy situation around such a loss. Yeah, and I call the gentleman brother or lad or my son. I get a lot of young men, and I get a lot of men, period, who get upset because I call them my son. That's what my grandfather calls everybody. Like, I grew up with men calling everyone who was either of the same age or who they were teaching. My grandfather called everybody my son, and it's just a natural. It's what I say. I say my son, and I get a lot of men who are like, oh, are you talking down to me? No, lad, I'm not. It's just how we talk. People get so upset by it, but it's just is what it is. I don't mind me son. It makes me feel younger. We actually had something very, very interesting happen last night. The boy had been neglecting to clean up the kitty box, and this little guy jumped up on the bed last night and peed on me in the middle of the night. So the lady and I are tired because in the chaos of the middle of the night, this guy who had he got somewhere where he felt safe, which is with us. It's the second time that he's done this since we've had him. He got up on the bed because that's where he feels safe, and he peed on me. Esther, I saw your message come in, but it scrolled past and I didn't get to read it. Hang on. I know you were wishing condolences to us. Castle, we are deeply sorry to hear about the loss of your family member. We extend our heartfelt condolences to you and your family. Thank you, Esther. I appreciate that very much. Christine said, sadly, we are doing a long goodbye with my dad due to dementia. I'm not sure which is worse, sudden or this. And it is hard to say. My own father passed away from dementia as well, Kristen, and it is very difficult to watch somebody you love sort of decline into that. And it is hard. But it's always a privilege to get to be with your loved ones as they pass. It is an overwhelming privilege. I was unfortunately in a very bad situation when of my own making. It was nobody else's fault but my own. Where I had not seen my mother in 2 months when she passed, and I lived 30 minutes from her. And my mother died pretty much alone. And she did pass suddenly, like she wasn't sick to the point of dying. She passed suddenly from medical malpractice. A doctor sent her home with sepsis. And she passed in her sleep. Thank God. But it was tragic that we didn't get to be with my mother as she passed. So I was very grateful that even though my father was suffering a lot, that we got to spend his final days with him. And it's tough. It is hard to watch somebody you love fall apart. But it's also an overwhelming privilege to get to be with those you love as they pass. Mike, thank you for the heart me and for the I heart you. And Darth Nexus Big 8 himself, thank you for the heart me and the Go Popular. Tips to the tower, give it appreciated, my friends. Did I miss it? Oh, Kayla, hello, welcome in. I'm stuck at work because of overtime. Well, I'll do my best to smooth things over as you work then. Somebody said something earlier and I missed it. Wait until you're called sir everywhere you go. I miss the days of my son. Yeah, I pretty much everywhere I go, I get called sir. I get a couple of people in here, like Sword Talk on Twitch, calls me little brother, which is weird because I've been referred to as by like an older state forever, and Bear refers to me as young man. Damn dude, that's deep. Sharing your life publicly is valiant. It took me a very long time to be comfortable sharing struggles with people. Because I'm a very private person. I am a very private person. Even though the lady and I work online, we are very private. Speaking of my son, Jaeger shows up. Your chitter-chattering put the kids to sleep just now, did it? I'm all over the place. Hello, is it Boo or Milo? It was Milo who I had. He's run off though because I upset him. I picked him up when he was staring outside. Yeah, he does feel safe, and that's important. I'm not happy at having to shampoo our bed again, but, you know, it is what it is. And the boy got a stern talking to about making sure that their box is clean. To the person who's going through dementia, that's what we are going through. Dementia and Alzheimer's combined. I'm sorry you're going through. Yeah, it's rough. My father actually had he had chronic strokes, and he had a bunch of strokes in the front of his brain, and he developed early onset Alzheimer's, and then that led to dementia, and it's really, really difficult. September, for those who don't know, is Sepsis Awareness Month. I did not know that, but that's very nice. Facebook froze. Well, it's frozen for me. Hang on. Let me see. Yeah, Facebook's all right for me. It looks like. Still running. It's still running. Yeah. So good. Yes, Milo took it upon himself to pee on me. Not directly on me. He snuggled up to the back of me and peed, but he he snuggled up behind me and squatted down and peed, but it got on me because obviously I was right there. I was supposed to be on a date, but they had a medical emergency for family. Well, that's unfortunate. Hello, Stephanie. We are actually still very early on in the book. We are on chapter 2. We're in a darkness in Seth at Sethanon. I have a darkness in Sethanon. Thank you, Evan. I appreciate you. Cheers. Milo should have peed on the boy, but the boys' room is chaotic, so he doesn't feel as safe in the boys' room, which is why he came into our room to do it. And again, this is the second time that has happened, and both times it was because the little box was dirty. For every drink we buy, Castle, Sir Matty has to drink too. I think that is very fair, Erin. Still having trouble on Facebook. I hope it works now. Working right now. Yeah, for some reason it seems like Facebook is lagging behind. I'm not sure why. It might just be a server thing on their end. But going back to what Mike had said, when I started telling stories from my family, people started asking a lot of very personal questions, and to be perfectly honest, I was very uncomfortable talking about my relationships and my family and my mistakes, because I've done a lot of really bad things in my life that I'm not ashamed of, but it's not something that I want people to look at as being an example of how you should live. So I wasn't incredibly comfortable sharing them. But over the years, I've realized that people, or I guess I've remembered, I shouldn't say I've realized, I've remembered that people learn best from stories. And if people can hear the stories of what myself and the lady have gone through over the years, then it will benefit those who are going through the same thing, knowing that you don't have to be defined by a single weak moment, even by many weak moments. You don't have to be defined by those things. You can rise up and you can make yourself better than your lowest points. And it doesn't... really matter how low you let yourself go, as long as you're not doing it on purpose, and as long as you're trying your best to rise above and be the person who you really want to be, somebody who is admirable. And so I would much rather share those uncomfortable stories for me than did we got a you guys are rating it. Hang on, let me snooze the ads. We just had Falcor rating right as ads were about to start. Hello, friends and companions of the bookworms. Welcome. Let me give you all a toot on the raid horn. From the bookkeeps, can we get a shout out for our good friend Falcor? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome in, bookworms. What were we doing today? Some of you may know me. The lady and I do tend to frequent Falcor's chat, and we've raided in a few times. I am Castle, this is my tavern, and here we talk about myth and lore and tales of yore, and every now and again we read you a bedtime story. This is a magical tavern at the end of the world where all stories eventually come to rest, and you have stumbled in through a portal because you are seeking a story. My wife and I are the storytellers and barkeeps here, but you will also see plenty of other barkeeps who will help keep you. Those raspberries were weak. Okay, we'll do one more round of Viking raspberries. I'll get you a strong one. How about that? And thank you, Queen Toasty, for the follow. I appreciate it. You've marked the tavern on your map. You should be able to find your way back now. Better? There is a noise gate on the microphone, so that's probably not helping. But what were we doing today, Falcor? How was... you were doing, I believe, working together, yes? Yeah, we are the tavern. We are the tavern keeps. Anyone with a sword is the barkeep. That is correct. Co-working stream, excellent. Getting things done, that's important. Well, you're joining us pretty near the beginning of our next book. We are in A Darkness at Sethanon by Raymond E. Feist, which is the 4th book in the series Magician, which we just finished Silverthorn. This is the one I've told you about, Falcor. It's a very good series. I never would have given it a chance if the community had not voted on it. And the first 2 books are very slow, big, slow burn books, but excellently structured. And Silverthorn is absolutely incredible. I do need to do a recording of the raid horn for Una, so she doesn't have to do it herself. That is true. But friends, thank you all for joining us. Grab a seat. Fill your mugs, because we're about to start story time. So very glad that you could all join us. Absolutely wonderful to have you. Did Bethany drop in? Bethany, hello! And Falcor, thank you so much for the raid. Thank you for trusting us with the bookworms. We will do our best to make sure that they are properly entertained and thoroughly saturated. The first book was indeed a 2-in-1. It was called Master Magician and Master Apprentice. Absolutely, Belinda, absolutely. Always love Storytime. Beauty and Blasphemy, hello, good to see you. I'm very worn out, but I get paid soon. It's always good news. You have the voice of a god, of a British gentleman, but the look of a Norse god. Well, I'm Irish. But I appreciate you saying... I'm going to take it all... I know you meant it as a compliment. So I'll take it all as a compliment, but I am Irish. Beauty and Blasphemy, I'm glad that you made it into the guild, by the way. It's good to see you over there. Yeah, my family are Norse Gaels from Southern Ireland. So my family are from Norway. Most of them are from just north of Oslo. And my family in particular are from Falcor is in Falcor from Neverending Story. Yes, they're similar and the same. Um, but my family are from Southern Ireland. Most of us are from either Wicklow, Limerick. Oh, and the ad started. No, ad starts soon. We're good. We're good. We got a minute. Uh, we are from Wicklow, Limerick, Cork, and Kerry for the most part. It's quite alright. It's quite alright. I'm just joshing with you, anyways. Castle, I am now writing chapter 4. My publisher has approved the overview and I have signed the contract. The project manager will contact me. That's spectacular news, Esther. Congratulations. Alright, friends. I'm going to run. I'm sorry for everybody who just came in. Twitch is going to make us run ads. So we're going to run some ads real quick. I'm going to run 3 minutes so that we can have an hour without them. And I appreciate everyone who sticks around for them. If you don't want to stick around for them, I also completely understand, but Twitch makes us do it. So I'm going to run them real quick so we have an hour without them. And then we're going to get into story. I'll give us a quick summary of where we are, and then we will carry on. Next time in Ireland, I need to explore the south. I've done all the other directions. I will tell you that the Wicklow Valley, the forests of Down, and the rivers outside of Kerry, if you go to the Boyne, some of the most beautiful places in the world. I sadly, most of the places that I grew up in, they're not there anymore. They've been built over and they've been pulled up. But they are absolutely some of the most beautiful places in the world. I strongly recommend. If you've never been to Ireland, go, because a lot of the beautiful places in Ireland are disappearing fast. By the way, I got a laugh from ChatGPT today. I put a chapter of my book in and asked it, what would Breed's voice be from my story? And the AI went with Ivana Lynch. I'm like, now I can't unsee Luna Lungo as a Chaos Elf Goblin. Pirithios, I think I said that correctly. Hello and welcome in, so very glad you could join us. Chasitha, hello brother, good morning. Hello, good to see you. Castle, I was keeping my story private as I was uncertain of his approval. However, it has been well received and I would like to express my gratitude for your congratulations. And you shall have all the more of it as time goes on. Pirithios. Okay, so it's sort of Greek then. Pirithios. Or Piri. Piri will probably be easier. I don't know if I will remember that, but I will do my damnedest to. Alright friends, we're going to run three minutes of ads real quick. I apologize for everyone who just came in, but that'll give us an hour where I can just read to you and we will not be interrupted. I'll be right back. Thank you all for coming in. Falcor, always lovely to have you, love. Thank you so much for bringing the worms to us. I will do my best to entertain them unto sleep, and we'll be right back, everyone. So Cynthia, we're reading stories. We are reading A Darkness at Sethanon by Raymond E. Feist, which is the 4th book in the Magician series. We've read through the whole thing here in the tavern, voted on by the community, and if you go back through, there's a whole playlist of all of the different chapters. So, if you want to catch the whole story, grab a snack, drink water, and come back for the story. Absolutely. Is the music a bit loud? I can turn it down. It shouldn't be loud, but if it is, I will... No, don't do that. Turn it down. Because TikTok's entire thing is just all buggled. But it paired Berry with Aloy, so I'm happy about that. Yeah, that's very neat. Well, some of the songs are louder than others, actually, so it's... Yeah, some of them happen. Liam, is it Liam Core? Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me because we're running ads at the moment. But hello, welcome in. So very glad that you could join us. If you can hear me, that is. Dr. Susan, hello. So very glad you could. We're starting here in 60, 70 seconds. We're waiting for ads to finish over on Twitch and we'll begin. How about the Witcher books? Because I've never read. I have read the Witcher books. We have not read them during story time, but they are on the list for anyone. And you guys vote on the books that we read during story time. And every once in a while we'll do a readathon where I try to get through an entire series. Most creators will do a subathon. We do readathons. So you guys can pick a series, and we usually do Lord of the Rings. It's become sort of traditional, but it's a darkness at Sethanon, and I'm dumb, and I keep typing a darkness in Sethanon. So I'm ridiculous. My brain keeps remembering it like this, and it's at Sethanon. So I don't know. Tim, my friend, hello, hey mate. Still didn't get a reply from Gilda's support team. Damn, that's all right, Tim. You can always message me on Instagram. Oh, that's right. Go smack him.
Okay.
Little butthead scratching at the chair.
Stop pulling my chair.
He has so many toys. He's got a giant 2-foot tall or 3-foot tall wheel to play on. And his favorite thing to do is to scratch up the chair. Yeah, Tim, message me on Instagram again, mate. We'll talk there. We'll schedule something through there. I can, yes. Did I completely forget to get you? I'm so sorry. I didn't. I don't know what distracted me. I'm so sorry, Libby. I'm so sorry. I left the lady completely coffeeless. Can you believe I'm such a monster? Here, let me fix this real quick. The lady got a... Brooke, hello, welcome in. So good to see you. Just a moment. I'm fixing the headline because I'm... Yeah.
Made the same mistake I did.
Yeah. And I've been doing it for a while. I don't know why I keep remembering it that way, but I do. So the lady got a pretty new book that she wanted me to show. You might have seen this on TikTok, if you've been on TikTok at all. But I don't know how many of you have read the book Howl's Moving Castle, but it is by Diana Wynne Jones. It is what inspired the film by Hayao Miyazaki, and if you don't know who Hayao Miyazaki is, he makes absolutely incredible animated films through his company, Studio Ghibli. And this is a book that has illustrations and art in it. The dust jacket is lovely. You have stars painted on the pages here. And then you have these beautiful, absolutely beautiful drawings on the inside of Howl and Sophie. And she actually has her stick, her walking stick in this one, which is a very important part of the book that sort of gets left out in the film. But it's absolutely beautiful. And the interesting thing is that this was illustrated by the same illustrator who wrote the children's book that we talked about some time back, the Bakery Dragon. We read it, or I think we read that one on a readathon some time ago. But the artist of the Bakery Dragon did all of these illustrations, and it's absolutely lovely. It's so pretty. I want to get the cover of the book. So yeah, it's so good. It's so well done too. It's just absolutely stunning. He got him with his guitar, and he got her with her walking stick, and he's clutching Calcifer in his heart. It's just so good, so good. Yeah. It was drawn by the same artist who drew the Bakery Dragon. So it's absolutely lovely. What is the artist's name, Lovey? Devin L. Kirks is the one who drew this. I don't have any way of tagging them, but we're going to do an Instagram post for the tavern on this book to tag the artist and obviously Diana Wynne Jones, but the artist more importantly. Everybody knows who Diana is. I'm seeing that movie in theaters next week. A friend is taking me. It's on my birthday weekend. If you've never seen a Studio Ghibli movie in a theater, go do it because it is absolutely exceptional. Liam Cord. I don't know how to say your name. I think it's Leah Liam Cord. Hello and welcome in. I know you came in with Falcord. Hello. I'm so very glad that you could join us. Well, now I double need it. It's so good. The Bakery Dragon was adorable. Right, Jessica? It's so good. Absolutely beautiful. Una says the sequel is coming out in November for the Bakery Dragon. So we'll have to do a read when it does come out. Okay. Alright, you guys have all been very patient. I appreciate you, so let's go ahead and get into story time. I am gonna turn this down just a smidge. A little bit loud. Bethany wants to know where you got this copy of House. Yeah, go ahead. So apparently she got this one on Amazon. How was I not following you on it? I don't ever promote our social media, so it's not your fault, Nilu. I don't ever promote any of the things that we do, so it's not your fault. Some people, I mention another social media platform. They're like, we're on. I do little story snippets over on Snapchat too, and for Snapchat Spotlight. And some people hear that we're on Snapchat. They're like, I had no idea the tavern was on Snapchat. Quart, hello, my friend. Welcome in. Quart, I know that you, at least if I remember correctly, you're a fan of Howl's Moving Castle and Studio Ghibli. Look at this book. It's beautiful. And then look at all of the falling stars painted on the pages. It was illustrated. There's a bunch of illustrations in here by the author of The Bakery Dragon. Absolutely stunning. I only use Insta to watch videos Lucas sends me. Isn't it beautiful? It's absolutely stunning. The lady's looking it up right now. She'll drop it over in on... Isn't it though, bro? The lady was telling me we should probably do a reading of Howl's Moving Castle for the readathon when we do it. So, we'll see. But for now, we are in A Darkness at Sethanon. Now, when we last left off, we are still following Arutha, who is the Prince of Krondor now. I don't know how to use Snapchat. I don't know how to use Snapchat either. I just upload little storytelling snippets over there.
Do it. Do it, Jedi.
Yes, to the readathon, Howl's Moving... it seems like your idea was well received, Lovey. So we are still following Arutha, and what has happened is Arutha's just had 2 babies, twins, and as a part of the tradition, Beauty and Blasphemy also says you're getting guesses from all over. Destiny says her ideas are always well received. Fair enough. She's brilliant. It's hard not to, right? Arutha and Anita have had their first children, 2. Milo, stop. I swear to God, this cat is just a menace. Beautiful and brilliant, a deadly combo. That's how she got me. Oh yes, please. I should be home for the readathon. I think middle bear cub would love that. Excellent. Excellent, bear. Yes, they had twins, and as is traditional in Mid-Kemia, which is the world they come from, and in the Kingdom of the Isles, whenever royalty has an heir, they present them, they have a presentation day to show that they are healthy, and that they are well-formed, and that they will be worthy of inheriting the crown when the time comes. Wait, what happened?
Yes.
That
Only showing them on me.
that's interesting.
It's weird.
Yeah, that is very weird. Yeah, she will, bear. We're gonna do a whole Instagram post on it later. I know you don't follow us on Instagram. I don't even know if you have Instagram, bear. That's where it's a photo app, bear. Photos are the digital versions of pictures. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with Bear. Bear and I always go back and forth about who's old. I'm just messing with him. So we're gonna do an Instagram post, and she's also gonna post pictures of it in the guild. She just got it yesterday. Yeah, we are Black Dragon Tavern on Instagram. It'll have my picture on it. Break it down Barney style for him, Ryan. Excellent, Esther. We would look forward to having you. Yeah, so it's BLK Dragon Tavern on. So my Snapchat is the same as the Twitter account because they have a character limit. Hang on, let me see. Grab it here. Post it here. No, that is not correct. Oh, so let me. I keep getting distracted. Okay, so they present their babies, and it is a festival of sorts for the kingdom. There we go. That should show up for everybody now. The link to the book. And during that festival, during that feast, I can't remember his name. Why can't I remember his name? Squire James, Jimmy the Hand. Squire James, who was the thief who helped save Varutha in the last book, discovered that the Nighthawks, who are the assassins that tried to kill him in Silverthorn, were back active in the city. And that is where we ended last time. Arutha said, "What do you think you're to do to Jimmy?" And Jimmy said, "Go to the docks," said the boy with a grim smile. Arutha nodded again, both pleased and surprised at the boy's grasp of things. "Yes, if you must, search all night. But as soon as you can, find Trevor Hall and bring him here to me." Now, Trevor Hall was in contact with the Upright Man, who is the guy who leads the Mockers. The Mockers are the smugglers and thieves guild inside of Krondor, which is the capital where Arutha is. And that is where we are to this point. We are just after the reveal, the presentation ceremony of Arutha and Anita's children, and now there is a new danger of Arutha being assassinated again. So, of course, he said, "I already follow you on everything. I thought I had to follow you on a new account because it was the old name when I originally followed." Oh, right. No, I just changed the name. So if you're already following me on Snapchat, then you'll have it. Shoot, I missed the last part of the recap because my phone was being dumb. You're all right. Basically, Jimmy discovered that the Nighthawks are still hunting Arutha, and that they're back active in Krondor again. And that is where we are presently. And now we are on to chapter 2, which is Discovery. So, settle in, fill your mugs. It'll be time. Esther, you said... I meant to say I will try my best to view the readathon. Well, if you get to be a part of it, I'll be happy to have you, and if you get to view it, I'll be happy that you did. Alright, friends, settle down. And let us begin. Yes, that too. Thank you, Bear. Anita and Arutha's children are named Erland and Boric. Boric was Arutha's father, and Erland was Anita's father, and they named their sons after the boys' grandfathers, both of who died during the Rift Wars in the first 2 books. So, it's really a beautiful start to the book, but they put the tension on already. It's not the go that we got from Silverthorn, but it'll be a nice break not to have all the go right off the bat at least. Right. Jimmy searched the room. The Fiddler Crab Inn was a haunt of many who wished a safe harbor from questions and prying eyes. As the sun began to set, the room was crowded with locals, so Jimmy was at once the source of curiosity, for his clothing marked him out of place. A few natives of the city knew him by sight. After the poor quarter, the docks had been a second home to him, but no small number of those in the inn marked him as a rich boy out on the evening. Perhaps one with some gold to be shaken loose. One such man, a sailor by the look of him, drunken and belligerent, barred Jimmy's passage through the room. Here now, such a fine young gentleman as yourself. Be having a spare coin or two to buy a drink in celebration of little princes, wouldn't you think? He rested his hand upon his belt dagger. Jimmy adroitly sidestepped the man and was half past him, saying, "No, I wouldn't." The man reached for Jimmy's shoulder and tried to hold him. Jimmy came around in a fluid movement, and the man found the point of a dirk leveled at his throat. "I said, I don't have any extra gold." The man backed away, and several onlookers laughed. But others began to circle the squire. Jimmy knew at once he had made an error. He had in no time to scrounge up clothing to fit his present environment, but he could have made a show of turning over a half-empty purse to the man. Still, once begun, such a confrontation could not be aborted. A moment before, Jimmy's purse had been at risk. Now it was his life. Jimmy backed up, seeking to place his back to a wall. His expression was hard and revealed no hint of fear. And a few who surrounded him suddenly understood that there was someone who knew his way about the docks. Softly, he said, "I'm looking for Trevor Howe." At once, the men stopped advancing on the boy. One turned and indicated with his head a back door. Jimmy hurried towards it and pulled aside the hanging cloth cover. A group of men sat gambling in a large smoke-filled room. From the pile of betting markers on the table, it was for high stakes. The game was Limland, common to the Southern Kingdom and Northern Kesh. Colorful display of cards was unfolded, and the players bet and dealt in turn, determining odds and payoffs by which cards were turned. Among the gamblers were 2 men, one with a scar from forehead to chin, running through a milk-white right eye, and the other a bold, pock-faced man. Aaron Cook, the bald man, and first mate on a customs cutter Royal Raven, looked up at Jimmy, who pushed towards the table. He nudged the other man, who sat regarding his cards with disgust, throwing them down. When he saw the youth, the man with the white eyes smiled, but as he took note of Jimmy's expression, the smile faded. Jimmy spoke loudly over the noise in the room. "Your old friend Arthur wants you." Trevor Hole, one-time pirate and smuggler, knew at once whom Jimmy meant. Arthur was the name Arutha had used in the Hull's when Hull's smugglers and the mockers had joined forces to get Arutha and Anita out of Krondor, while Guy Dubastira's secret police had been combing the city for them. After the Rift War, Arutha had pardoned Hull and his crew for past crimes and had enlisted them in the Royal Customs Service. Hull and Cook stood as one and left the table. One of the other gamblers, a heavy-set merchant, of some means by his dress, spoke around his pipe. "Where are you off to? The hand's not played out?" Hull, his shock of grey hair fanning out around his head like a nimbus, shouted. It is for me. Hell, I only have to run in blue and a pair of 4 counts to play." And he reached back and turned over all his cards. Jimmy winced as the men around the table began to curse and throw in their cards. The nature of the game was such that as soon as he revealed his hand, play was disrupted. The only fair thing would be to leave the bets out and re-deal the entire hand. A prospect not appreciated by those with good cards left to play. In the common room, as they headed to the door, Jimmy observed, "You're a mean man, Hull." The old smuggler turned customs officer laughed an evil laugh. "That fat fool was ahead, and all my gold. I just wanted to take some wind out of his sails." Outside of the inn, they hurried along the streets, past celebrants as the festival began to pick up while the afternoon shadows lengthened. Pistol, hello, welcome in. So very glad that you could join us. Grab your seat, fill your mug. Tyson made it over to Twitch. So hello, the comments are moving quickly. Elsie and I are well, busy in a good way. We hope you and your dog are well. Yes, everyone, I hope you're all doing well, as a matter of fact. Arutha stood looking down at the maps on the table. The maps were from his archive, provided by the Royal Architect, and showed the streets of Krondor in detail. Another, showing the sewers, had been used before in the last raid against the Nighthawk. For the past 10 minutes, Trevor Hole had been carefully studying them all. Hole had headed the most prosperous gang of smugglers in Krondor before taking service with Arutha. And the sewers and back alleys had been his means of bringing contraband into the city. Hole conferred with Cook, then rubbed his chin. His fingers pointed at a spot on the map where a dozen tunnels came together in a near maze. "The Nighthawks are living down in the sewers. The upright man would have spotted them before they could have dug in. But it may be they're using the tunnels as a way in and out of." His fingers moved to another spot on the map. "Here." His fingers lingered over a portion of the docks, resembling a crescent along the bay. Halfway along the curve, the docks ended, and the warehouse district began. But also nestled against the water was a small section of the Poor Quarter, like a pie-shaped wedge driven between the more prosperous trading areas. "Fishtown?" said Jimmy. "Fishtown?" echoed Arutha. "Is the poorest section of the Poor Quarter," said Cook. Hall nodded. "It's called Fishtown, Divers Town, Dockside, and other things as well. Used to be a fishing village a long time ago.
The city grew northward along the bay. It was surrounded by businesses, but there's still some fisher families living there, mostly lobstermen and mussel rakers who work the bay, or clam diggers who work the beaches north of the city. But it's also located near the tanners, dyers, and other foul-smelling sections of Crondor, so no one who can afford better lives lives there.
Jimmy said. Varney said the upright man thought they were hiding in a place that smells, so he thinks of Fishtown as well. Jimmy shook his head as he considered the map. If the Nighthawks are hiding in Fishtown, finding them will be difficult. Even the Mockers don't control Fishtown as firmly as they do the rest of the Port Quarter and the docks. There's a lot of places to get lost in there. I'll agree.
We used to run in and out near here through a tunnel to London once used to carry cargo into the harbour from the merchant's basement.
Arutha studied the map and nodded. He knew where that landing lay.
There's a number of different locations, moving things in and out, varying where we kept them from time to time.
He looked up at the prince.
The first problem is the sewers. There are maybe a dozen conduits leading up from the docks to Fishtown. You have to block each one. One of them is so big, you'll need to block it with a crew in a boat.
Aaron Cook said, Trouble is, we don't know where in Fishtown they're hiding. If that's where they are, said Arutha. Cook said, I doubt if the upright man would even mention it if he had not had a good notion they're down there somewhere. All nodded in agreement.
That's a fact. I can't think of another place in the city that they could be hiding. The upright man wouldn't have pinned it as a location. As a mocker caught a glimpse of the first Nighthawk, even though the thieves use a lot of sewers to skulk about in it. There are parts they don't pass through, and Fishtown is the worst. The old fisher families are independent and tough, almost clannish. Someone took up residence in one of the old shacks near the docks, kept to himself. Even the mockers only get silence from the Fishtown folk when they ask questions. So the Nighthawks have infiltrated slowly. No one but the locals might have a hint. It's a regular war in there. Little sheets all twisted about.
He shook his head.
As part of the map's useless, half the buildings shown here are burned down. Shacks and hovels built anywhere there was room. It's a mess in there.
He looked at the prince.
Another name for Fishtown is the Maze.
Jimmy said, Trevor's right. I've been through Fishtown as much as anyone in the Mockers, and that's not much. There's nothing worth stealing in there. And he's wrong about one thing. The biggest problem isn't blocking escape routes. It's locating the Nighthawks. There are a lot of honest folk living in that part of town. And you can't just ride in and kill everyone. We've got to find their hideout, he considered. From what I know, if the Nighthawks, they'll want a place that's first of all defensible, then easy to flee. They'll probably be up here. His finger pointed to a spot on the map. Trevor Hall said,
It's a possibility. That building is nestled against those two walls, so they've only got two fronts to cover. And there's a network of tunnels below the streets there. So those tunnels are small and difficult to navigate, unless you've been there before. Yes, it's a likely place.
Having recently got a quad has made it a tad easier. Glad to have caught a reading. Clearing up property, so I'm tired to say, okay, so good. Staying occupied is all as well. Welcome back, Frost. Slow and steady is always the best way to go. Dorgo, I didn't see you follow, so if you're still in here, welcome to the tavern, my friend. Tips to the tavern keeper are always appreciated. Or, what am I saying? Think you marked us on your map. My brain isn't working. Long day and a long night, but I'm glad you're here nevertheless. Alright, where was I? Jimmy looked at Arutha. I better go change, Arutha said. I don't like the need, but you're best equipped to scout. Cook looked at Hall, who nodded slightly. I could come along. Jimmy shook his head. I know parts of the sewer. You know parts of the sewers better than I, Aaron. But I can slip in and out without making the water ripple. You haven't the knack. And there's no possible way you can get into Fishtown unnoticed. Even on a noisy night like this. I'll be safer if I go alone. Arutha said. Shouldn't you wait? Jimmy shook his head. If I can locate their war room before they know they've been discovered, we may be able to clean them out before they know they've been hit. People do funny things sometimes, even assassins. It being a festival day, their sentries will probably not expect someone nosing around. With the city in celebration, there will be lots of noises throughout the night. Odd and out-of-place sounds will be less likely to alert anyone in the sewer below the building. And if I have to poke around above ground, a strange poor boy in Fishtown isn't likely to be noticed this night as much as others. But I need to go at once. You know best, said Arutha. But to react should they discover someone seeking them out. One glimpse of a Nighthawk that recognizes you and they'll come straight after you. Jimmy noticed Arutha didn't seem troubled by the fact alone. It seemed to Jimmy that the prince wouldn't mind an open confrontation. Though Jimmy knew that what bothered him was his concern for the safety of others. That goes without saying, but chances are excellent they're coming after you tonight anyway. The palace is lousy with strangers. Jimmy looked out the window at the late afternoon sunset. It's almost 7 hours afternoon. If I were planning to attack you, I'd wait for another 2 or 3 hours to get someone into the palace, just when the celebration is at its height. Performers and guests will be going in and out of the gates. Everyone will be half drunk, tired from a day-long celebration, and feeling very relaxed. But I wouldn't wait much after that, or your guards might notice a late arrival entering the grounds. If you stay alert, you should be safe enough while I snoop around. I'll report back as soon as I have a hint. Arutha indicated permission for Jimmy to withdraw. Quickly, Trevor Hall and his first mate followed, leaving a troubled, seething prince alone with his thoughts. Arutha sat back, bald fist held before his mouth as his eyes stared off into nothing. He had faced the minions of Myrmandamus near the Black Lake, Moralin. But the final contest was yet to come. Arutha cursed himself for becoming complacent over the last year. When he had first returned to with Silverthorn, the key to saving Anita from the effects of the Nighthawk's poison, he had been nearly ready to return at once to the north. But the affairs of court, his own marriage, the trip to Rillanon to attend his brother's wedding to Queen Magda, then Coulteric's funeral, the birth of his sons, all of these had come and gone without him attending to the business north of the kingdom. Beyond the great ranges lie the Northlands. There lay the seat of his enemy's power. There Myrmandamus marshalled his forces. And from that seat far to the north, he was reaching down again to touch the life of the Prince of Krondor, the Lord of the West, the man fated by prophecy to be his undoing, the bane of darkness. Should he live? And again, Arutha found himself struggling within the confines of his own I don't know if I've ever seen this word. It's D-E-M-E-S-N-E. What does that word mean?
I believe it depends. It's like
Demens. Hang on a second. I rarely come across a word I have not seen before, so I need to look at this real quick. Give me a second. So it's said demand. So it's a French word. Demand. Land attached to a manor to retain for the owner's right. And use possession of a real property of his own right. Interesting. So the word is demand, and let's see. So where was I? And again, Arutha found himself struggling within the confines of his own demand. So his own home. So is his own manor. Interesting. Very nice. I can listen to Castle narrate the dictionary. You've got reader's fog. Matty, you said, my brain hasn't worked in weeks. Yeah, I've never heard the word before. And it's spelled D-E-M-E-S-N-E. And it's basically saying within the confines of his own home. Feist was being cheeky here. That's an unnecessary use of French. I don't approve. I don't approve of superfluous Frenching. We only use French when we absolutely have to. I can turn the music down ever so slightly, Bethany. It shouldn't be dreadfully loud, but I will bring it down just a smidge more. Milo's being a menace right now, so. Just found out I'm not allowed to share my story. It won't be everyone's interest. You're not allowed to share your story where, Estud? Tell Quebec that. Tout le français est nécessaire. See, that's too much French. It's too much unnecessary French, Milo. Speaking to the French Canadians. We weep for their misfortune. That's one of those words you learn reading where you end up knowing how to use it in a sentence, but can't define it. Yeah, absolutely. All French is superfluous, Frost. That is correct. Even when you are in France. Well, I don't know how you would share a story in Twitch chat in any case. So you can share it over in the guild. I'm sure there's a whole writer's page over there. Share it over in the guild, and I'm sure people would love to read it. Duncan, hello, my friend. Welcome in. Good to see you. It wasn't dreadfully loud, but still think, well, it's better if it's at a comfortable volume. I'm so sorry, Osby. Hey, the French have a very proud history of surrender. I actually keep a French flag here on my desk. See? I keep a French flag here on my desk. I'm completely teasing you guys. I love, because Valkyrie has French ancestry, and we love her to death. Sinister Valkyrie, we love her to death. And obviously, Falcor is from Canada, and Milo is from Canada, and Maddie's from Canada. We love our French descendant friends. What a glorious French flag you have there. Well, Castle, I have French and Scottish. See, there you go. We've got plenty of folk with French ancestry. It's all in good fun. I make fun of the mix as well. Oh, actually, I didn't see that you were going to bed. Y'all, unfortunately, I'm falling asleep. It's been such a long day. I'm going to have to go to sleep. I'll be back Thursday. Love you all. Good night, Ashley. Thank you so much. Sweet Bokan, I'm Canadian from Quebec. See, we got plenty of Canadian folk in here. Hi there, Sweet Bokan. Are you coming in from Falcourt or are you coming in from the Brows? Wherever you're from, for all the new folk again, I'm Castle. This is my tavern, and here we talk about myth and lore and tales of yore. And every now and again I read you all a story. You've stumbled into a portal that enters into a tavern at the end of the world, where all stories eventually come to rest, where my wife and I keep the tradition of the ancient storytellers and share them with all of you. Thank you for the follow, Sweet Bokan. So very glad that you could join us. I love the reading and everything. I was in the raid from Falcourt. Spectacular. So very glad that you could join us. I'm Castle, and my lovely wife's name is Una, and we are the storytellers and tavern keepers of this wonderful place. Duncan, you said I'm from Creole country, a lot of French. Creole country, you will never find better French food than you do in Creole country. Bedtime story, correct. Yeah, and other Canadians, I'm 6 hours from Quebec. I did that 23andMe thing ages ago, discovered that I am mostly Irish, English, and German, with a sprinkle of other stuff. That checks out. Irish got around. We did. We weren't even the type to go about and invade or raid. We just got about. Building pubs everywhere. That's right, there's a whole song about it. There's one in Honolulu and there's one in Moscow too. There's 4 of them in Sydney and a couple in Kathmandu. It's lovely to meet you, Bokan. Castle, Elsie and I greatly appreciate your storytelling, and we appreciate you too. Esther, there's a writer's tab over in the guild. Post your story in there. I'm sure that plenty of folk would love to give it a look. I don't know how you would manage. I don't think that you would even be able to put it in the chat here. We'll get back to singing. We will get back to singing. I'm a quarter Irish. Quarter eighth. You got a little bit of us in you. You got a lot of us in you. My father's side is mostly Irish with a pinch of Scottish, while my mother's is a mix of all of Europe. That will happen. Mine was not, but definitely was not what my mother told me it was. Americans have such a mixed bag of lineage that it's very difficult to tell where. I do not take the stance that most Europeans do, that you're not allowed to claim your lineage because you're American. You should be proud of your American heritage, to be sure. You've seen the remains of Paul Gator. I have, Duncan. I have. But at the same time, we can do the Irish pub song on when we take a break, Esther. We can do an Irish pub song. You should be proud of your American heritage or wherever you're from. You should be proud of your Aussie heritage or your New Zealand heritage or wherever you're from. But you can also have a little bit of pride and want to learn about the other cultures that make up your bloodline, because that's still your family, it's still your lineage. It's 100% fine to be proud of that and to want to know about it and to want to learn about those cultures. Absolutely, Esther, absolutely. I have Irish, Scottish, Native American, Polish, German, and English in me. That's a hell of a mix, that one. Poles and the Germans are fighting, the Irish and the Scots are fighting, the English and everybody else in that list are fighting. Not to change the topic from the overuse of French, but I was chosen as an Employee of the Month in August for our service department, got a certificate. Hell yeah, Tyson, that's wonderful news. Congratulations, my friend. See, you're a hard worker, you put in the work, and sometimes you get recognized for it. Spectacular, my friend, so very glad. Alright, I'm done waffling. I will get back to reading now. Yes, I could not miss an opportunity to make fun of the French, I'm sorry. It's in my blood to do it. In my blood. It's just like if there's an opportunity to make fun of the Scots, I have to. I can't not do it. English, Irish, French, German, with a matriarchal line from Africa. That's very interesting, Pistol. Very interesting. Fun fact, things about genetics. Native American DNA can be missing from you while found in your siblings. Very interesting, Molly. I don't think I knew that. Frost says, waffles. Bear says Scottish, Welsh, and a bit of English. No wonder I have such internal conflict. There's a lot of internal conflict there. you have two of the most. It's funny because everybody in Western Europe hates the Welsh. Couldn't tell you why. Couldn't tell you why, but everybody in Western Europe hates the Welsh. Like the Welsh didn't do anything. They hid up in the hills and threw rocks down when people tried to get them.
Very difficult.
Yeah, they did. They did. That's why the English don't like them. But yeah, the Welsh. As a writer, I'm not permitted to share any of my story. However, I can provide a page for consideration. The content contains some swearing, which is integral to that. That's fine, Esther. You can share the page over in the guild, like I said, and I'm sure that because if you posted it here, it would just scroll by really fast. People wouldn't even get a chance to read it. But if you want to put it over in the writers tab in the guild, I'm sure everyone would be absolutely thrilled to give it a read and give you their opinions if you want their opinions. Irish, English, and Scottish, as far as I know. I don't care. I don't know what else I am. And to be fair, the Irish, the English, the Scottish, the Welsh, the Cornish, and what's the other? I almost started swearing. You guys get me too much in the comfortable mood. There's another set of islands that it's escaping me at the moment, but are all basically descended from the collections of the same clans. Like most of the modern day Ireland, most of the people in modern day Ireland are descended from the Malaysians. Manx is yeah. Well, that's what I was. I mean, modern day. But the Manx was one of the groups, yes. And then you have the Picts, and you have the Gaels, and you have the Malaysians, and you have the various different Celtic tribes, which make up a whole bunch of groups. Maybe we should talk about Celtic tribes on Sunday. Do you guys want to do a waffle about Celtic tribes on Sunday? This coming Sunday, we'll talk about Celtic tribes. It's a hell of a topic. Yeah, why not? Let's do it. I've been informed that I have a small amount of Irish ancestry, with more Scottish and French. Yeah, see, Esther is the only one in here without any internal conflict, because the Scots and the French don't ever talk to each other. So Sunday, the lady starts at 6:30, and I get on at around 4:30 Pacific Standard Time to waffle a bit. I'll be live at SparkCon on Sunday, but I'd be down for Celt History. Excellent. We'll do that then. Look forward to it. All right. Back to reading. Sorry. All of this because Feist insisted upon using a French word. Got us completely off track. And again, Ruther found himself struggling within the confines of his own demand. The battle carried to his own door. Striking his palm with his fist, Arutha voiced a low, harsh curse. To himself and whatever gods listened, he vowed that when this business in Crondor was finished, he, Arutha Condoin, would carry the struggle northward to Murmandamus. The darkness hid 1,000 treasures amid 1,000,000 pieces of worthless garbage. Sounds like the internet. Brooke says yes as well. All right, we'll do it. Bears, also bears. For a second, I read bears and I forgot that they're different bears. Bears, hello. Good to see you, my friend. Long time. Because we have bear and then we have bears, plural. Multiple bears. Multiple bears in a trench coat. The waters in the sewers flowed slowly, and often large clumps of debris would gather in the jams, in a jam called a torf. And the torfsmen who picked over such floating refuse earned their living cleaning valuables lost in the sewers. They also kept the refuse flowing by breaking up the jams of garbage that threatened to back up the sewers. Little of this concerned Jimmy, save that a topsman was standing less than 20 feet away. The young squire had dressed all in black, save for his old comfortable boots. He had even purloined an executioner's black hood from the torture chamber. Beneath the black, he wore a simple garb, needed to blend in the poor quarter. The topsman looked directly at the boy several times, but for all his peering, Jimmy did not exist. For the better part of a half hour, Jimmy had stood motionless in the deep shadows of an intersection, while the old topsman picked over a smelly mess passing by. Jimmy hoped this wasn't the man's chosen location to work, otherwise he could be there for hours. Jimmy even more fervently hoped the topsman was real and not a disguised Night Hawk lookout. Finally, the man wandered off, and Jimmy relaxed. Though he did not move until the topsman had ample time to vanish down the side tunnel. Then, with stealth bordering on the unnatural, Jimmy crept along the tunnel toward the area below the heart of Fishtown. Down a series of tunnels he traveled silently even as he stepped into water. He managed to disturb it only slightly, and gifts of nature, lightning-flashed reflexes, astonishing coordination, and the ability to make decisions to react nearly instantaneously had been augmented by training from the mockers and forged in the harshness of the furnace, the daily life of a working thief. Jimmy made each move as if his life depended upon the remaining undetected, for it did. Down in the dark conduits of the sewers he journeyed, his senses extended into the darkness. He knew how to ignore the faint sounds coming down from the streets above, and how the slight echoes of rippling water rebounded from the stonework should sound. The slightest variation would warn anyone lurking out of view. The noisome air of the sewer masked any potential warning odors, but the air was almost motionless. So he would have a betraying hint of movement close should anyone come at him suddenly. A sudden shift in air, and Jimmy froze. Something had changed, and the boy immediately shrank down into the sheltering darkness of a low, overhanging brickwork. As a fresher breath of air passed, from a short distance ahead, he heard the faint grind of boot leather on metal, and knew something was descending a ladder from the street above. A slight disturbance in the water caused the boy to tense. Someone had stepped into the sewer and was walking in his direction. Someone who moved almost as silently as he. What is SparkCon? I'm not sure. Duncan over on Facebook says he's going to be there. I assume it's a convention of some sort. Dan just learned crochet literally means hook, and then laughed because I'm a crocheter. Ha! That is very funny. That is very funny. Castle, I need to know where I can post a pedagogy page. Destiny will help you out. Esther, she's quite the capable barkeep. TJ, hello, good evening and welcome in. So very glad that you could join us. Grab your seat, settle in. We are in the midst of bedtime stories. And language isn't an issue, Esther. As long as it doesn't contain depictions of anything overwhelmingly illegal, you should be fine. Hot Springs Comic-Con. I'll be acting. Oh, that's correct, that's correct. Duncan has a bit of a show going on. Yes, Destiny is always ready to help. Alright, where was I? I'm also in the... Hang on a second. I'm in the wrong... I just realized I'm in the wrong playlist for this book. Just a second. How you doing tonight, TJ? Stumbled in through the portals, we're glad to see you. Have you the good fortune to have cooler weather where you are yet? Or are you still suffering in the pangs of the heat of summer like the rest of us? Dog, will you stop? Lay down. She put a cover on the couch so that he wouldn't get hair all over the couch, and he scratches up the edges of the couch so that he can lay on the cushions again. Absolute menace these animals are, I tell you. As if acting on command. You'll have a notification over in the guild, Esther, where you can post. What is he doing? Is he falling off of your chair? Is that what he's doing?
He's jumping off and on.
Ludicrous animal. And ludicrous. Yeah. The two cats are harassing Una right now. And the dog is harassing the couch whilst oops, it's alright, Brooke. It's alright. Where would be? Ugh. Oh. And Jimmy could see the approaching man. He was slender, wearing a cloak and armed. He turned and whispered harshly, "Cover that damn lantern!" And in that instant, Jimmy could see a face as well. The man in the sewer was a Ruther, or at least resembled him enough to fool any but his closest intimates. Jimmy held his breath. The bogus prince was passing only a few feet away. Whoever followed shut the lantern, and darkness enveloped the tunnel, hiding Jimmy from discovery again. Then he heard the second man pass, listening for sound indicating others. Jimmy waited until he felt certain no one was coming. He quickly but quietly rose from his hiding spot and went to where the two men had emerged from the gloom. 3 tunnels intersected, and he would have to spend time determining which had provided entrance to the sewers for the false prince and his companion. Jimmy weighed his options briefly, then placed the need to follow the pair above the need to discover the entrance to the sewer that was employed. Jimmy knew this part of the sewers as well as any in Krondor, but if he fell too far behind, he would lose them. He slipped through the dark, listening to at each intersection for the sounds that told him where his quarry moved. Through the murky passage under the city, the boy hurried, slowly overtaking the 2 men. Once he caught a glimpse of light, as if the shuttered lantern had been uncovered slightly, so the traveler might gain their bearings. Jimmy followed after it. Then Jimmy rounded a corner, and in a sudden movement in the air gave warning. He dodged and felt something pass close to where his head had been, accompanied by a grunt of exertion. He pulled his dirk and turned towards the sound of breathing, holding his own breath. Fighting in the dark was an exercise in controlled terror. Each man could die from an overactive imagination as he sought a clue to the exact position of his opponent. Sounds, illusory movement, seen from the corner of the eye, a feeling about where the foe stood, all could cause a miscue that would give away a location bringing sudden death. Both men stood frozen for a long moment. Jimmy sensed a scurrying and instantly recognized the presence of a rat. A large one by the sound of it, moving away from trouble. He aborted a lunge in that direction before it was begun, but his opponent lashed at the sound, striking the stone. The ringing of steel on masonry was all Jimmy needed to thrust his dirk. Feeling the point strike deep, the man stiffened, then, with a low sigh, collapsed into the water. The combat had taken 3 blows, from the first at Jimmy in the dark to the one that ended it. Jimmy pulled his dirk free and listened. There was no sign of the man's companion. The youngster swore silently. While he was free of another attacker, it had also allowed the other man freedom to escape. Jimmy sensed a source of heat nearby, almost burned his hand on the metal lantern. Uncovering the shutter, he examined his foe. The man was a stranger, but Jimmy knew he was a Nighthawk. No other possible explanation could account for his presence in the sewers, with an exact double of the prince. Jimmy checked the body and found the Avon hawk worn next to the skin and the black poison ring, and there was no longer a doubt. The Nighthawks were back. Jimmy steeled himself for bloody work and quickly cut open the man's chest, removing the heart and casting it into the sewer. So for anyone who wasn't here during the last book, they have to cut out the hearts because Myrmandamus resurrects his followers, and they fight basically as zombies. Oh, looks like we're about to have ads. All right, we're going to run ads here again. 3 minutes, so we have an hour without them, and then we will be right back, my friends, over on Twitch. Castle, you're making me yawn. What did I do? Goliath, thank you for the subscription over on YouTube. I don't know if you're watching the live, but thank you anyways. Castle, I've made a note of Esther liking the Irish pub song by the High Kings that you did a little earlier. Thank you, Bear. I appreciate it. You're getting ready to... Oh, I yawned? I apologize. I am very sleepy. I'm gonna have to dip out. I've got an early morning. That's alright, love. I know we got on late today. So I appreciate you sticking around for as long as you did. We have... Oh, actually, we don't have that many pages left. We've got 7 pages left. Yes, they have to cut out the hearts or completely destroy the bodies to keep them from being resurrected by Myrmandamus. Oh, the love, my loves. Good night, Destiny. Give all of our love to the boys and to Lucas. Roderick, hello. Welcome in, my friend. Good to see you. Grab your seat. We're taking a very short break while ads run over on Twitch. Why Twitch? I wish they would just let me turn them off because we don't really make anything from it. And I understand that Twitch makes a lot of money from it, but it would be nice if we had the option to just shut them off. But we don't. We have to run them anyways. I found a silly Irish song you might know. The Old Dun Cow by Seamus Kennedy. Oh my goodness, I haven't heard the Old Dun Cow in ages, Bear. We are reading A Darkness at Sethanon, which is the 4th book in the Rift War saga. You might have been here, Roderick, for some of Magician. Magician had 2 books, but we read it all as 1 volume. It was Magician Apprentice and Magician Master. 7 Drunken Nights has not been sung recently, Milu. It's actually been some time since we've done 7 Drunken Nights. So we can do the Irish pub song, we can do 7 Drunken Nights. Well, let's do pub songs tonight. I'm more than happy to do pub songs. And we can end up with a woeful one, like One More Pull or Leave Her Johnny. Well, for anyone who is subbed, Matty, the ads don't show up, but the ads will pop up no matter what. If you haven't turned off pre-rolls, then your ads are just running on pre-roll, and then they run them more for that. I have a request for later. All right, Miru. All right. I'm very disappointed I had to stop attending Storytime with Silverthorn. Boo. I still have... I'm going to make a full playlist of the whole book, Bethany. So you'll be able to go back and listen to it all. A health for the company. Yeah, we could do that one. Yeah, we turn off pre-rolls because it's possible to get like a 22-minute pre-roll on Twitch. And I don't want anybody who sees us in the browse page to get dropped into a 22-minute ad. That's ridiculous. We might be able to do Tale of the Shadow. That's not exactly a pub song. That's more of a pirate song. But we'll do a bunch of pub songs and we'll see what happens. Health to the Company is definitely a pub song. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It could be that no, because they pop up on Falcor's stream. So I was gonna say maybe it's because he's on a Canadian server. I don't know. First time I ever joined the live, you sang Danny Boy. We could end off on Danny Boy. We haven't done Danny Boy in a long time, so we could end on Danny Boy. Yeah, this is a much slower pace so far than Silverthorn, but I have been told by Bear that it's got some real heavy-hitting moments in it. So that's exciting. Alright, looks like ads are done. Let's go ahead and get back in then. What was I? So we cut out the heart. Oh, here we go. Jimmy abandoned the lantern, left the body to float towards the sea with the other garbage, and began to return to the palace. He hurried, regretting the time lost in dealing with the corpse. He needed to reach the palace before the false prince. Splashing noisily towards the nearest exit back to the surface, Jimmy was confident the false prince had a long lead. As he rounded the corner, a sudden alarm sounded in his head, for an echo had rung false. Dodging, he was a moment late and he avoided a sword blade slash, but took a blow to the head from the hilt. He was knocked hard against the wall, his head striking the brick. Pitching forward, he landed in the center of the sewer channel, going under the muck-covered water. Half-dazed, he managed to roll over and get his face above the scum. Through the dull ringing in his ears, he could hear someone splashing in the water a short distance away. In a strange, detached way, he knew someone was looking for him, but the lantern lay back where the first man had fallen. And in the dark, the boy drifted away from the man who vainly sought to find him and end his life. Hands shook at the boy, dragging him from the odd half-dream. He thought it strange he should be floating in the darkness, for he had to meet the Prince of Krondor. But he couldn't find his good boots, and Master of Ceremonies de Lacy would never allow him into the great hall in his old ones. Opening his eyes, Jimmy discovered the leathery face hovering over his own. A toothless smile greeted his return to full consciousness.
Well, well,
said the old man with a chuckle.
You're back with us again, you are. I've seen all manner of things floating in the sewers over the years. Never thought I'd see a royal hangman tossed in the scumways, though.
He continued to chuckle, his face a grotesque, dancing mask in the guttering candlelight. Jimmy couldn't make sense of the man's words until he remembered the hood he had worn. The old man must have removed it. Who?
Tully, I'm called. Young Jimmy the Hand.
He chuckled.
Must have come to some difficulty to find yourself in such a fix.
How long?
10, 15 minutes. I heard the splashing about and went to see what's the to-do. Found you floating, thought you did. So I pulled you away to see if you carried gold. The other one was fit to bust. He couldn't find you.
I gave him the chuckle.
He'd have found you certain if you'd been left afloat. But I'd hauled you to this little tunnel I used for a hidey, and I'd lit no light till he was on his way. Found this,
he said, returning Jimmy's pouch. Keep it. He saved my life and more. Where's the nearest way up to the street? The man helped Jimmy to his feet.
You'll find the stairs to the basement of Teacher's Tannery. It's abandoned. It's on the Avenue of Smells.
Jimmy nodded. The street was Collington's Road, but all in the poor quarter called it the Avenue of Smells because of the tanneries. slaughterhouses and dryers located there. Tully said,
You're gone from the guild, Jimmy. But word's come down, you might be poking about here and there. So I'll tell you the password tonight is Finch. I don't know who those blokes were fighting you were, but I've seen an old crew down here the last 3 days. I guess things move apace.
Jimmy realized this simple Tossman was trusting to the higher-ups and the mockers to deal with the intruders in this domain. Yeah, they will be dealt with in a matter of days, Jimmy considered. Look, there's more than 30 gold in that pouch. Take word to Elvani the Quick. Tell him matters are as suspected, and my new master will act at once, I'm certain. Then take the gold and have some fun for a few days. The man fixed Jimmy with a squint, grinning his toothless grin.
Stay clear, is what you're saying. Well, then I might spend a day or two drinking up your gold. That enough?
Jimmy said. Yeah, a day or two will see this business over. As the Tossman moved forward in the tunnel that would lead to his exit to the street, Jimmy added, one way or the other. He looked about in the gloom and discovered he had been pulled back toward the place where he had first encountered the two Nighthawks pointing towards the intersection. He asked, Is there a metal ladder nearby?
3 that can be used.
He indicated their locations. Thanks again, Tully. Now quickly, carry my message to Alvani. The old Tossman waded away into a large tunnel, and Jimmy began his inspection of the nearest ladder. It was rusty and dangerous, as was the second, but the third was newly repaired and firmly anchored into the stones. Jimmy quickly climbed to the top and examined the trapdoor above. It was wood and therefore part of the building floor. Jimmy considered his position relative to Teacher's tannery. If his sense of direction wasn't off, he was under the building he had thought likely to be the Nighthawk's hideout. He listened at the trap for a long minute, hearing nothing. Gently, he pushed upward, peeking through the tiny crack made in the rising door. Directly before his nose was a pair of boots, crossed at the ankle. Jimmy froze. When the feet didn't move, he pushed the trapdoor an inch higher. The feet in the boots belonged to a nasty-looking customer who was sound asleep, a half-empty bottle clutched tightly to his chest. From the cloying odor in the room, Jimmy knew the man had to be drinking paga, a potent brew heavily spiced and laced with a perfume. A sweet, mild narcotic imported from Kesh. Jimmy chanced a quick glance about. Aside from the sleeping sentry, the room was completely empty, but faintly heard voices that came from the single door in the nearby wall. Jimmy drew a silent breath and noiselessly emerged from the trap. Avoiding touching the sleeping guard, he moved with a single step to the door and listened. The voices were faint. A tiny crack in the wooden door allowed Jimmy to peek through. He could see only the back of one man and the face of another. From the manner in which they were speaking, it was clear there were others in the room as well. And from the sound of movement, some number of them, perhaps a dozen, Jimmy glanced about and nodded to himself. This was the headquarters of the Nighthawks, and these men were Nighthawks beyond doubt. Even if they hadn't seen the ebon hawk on the man he had killed, those in the next room were nothing like the common folk of Fishtown. Jimmy wished he could better scout the building, for there was at least a half-dozen other rooms. But the restless sounds of the sleeping man alerted the former thief that time was quickly running out. The false prince would be inside the palace soon, while Jimmy could run down the streets, whereas the false Arutha had to slog through the sewers. It would be a close thing who would be at the palace first. Jimmy quietly left the door and moved back to the trap. He gently lowered it overhead. As he reached a point halfway between the trap and the sewer, he heard a voice directly overhead.
Matthew!
Jimmy's heart leapt as the other voice said,
What? Are you drunk yourself asleep? I'll have your eyes for dinner.
The other voice answered irritably. I only closed my eyes for a minute, just as you walked in, and don't threaten me, or the crows will have your liver. Jimmy heard the trap being lifted, and without hesitation swung himself around to the side of the ladder. He hung in midair, only one hand and one boot on the small rungs, as he had flattened himself against the wall, barely holding on the scant hand and the foothold in the rough stones. He trusted his black clothing in the gloom, and the fact that the eyes of those above would take time to adjust to the darkness of the sewer to hide him. A light was shined from above, and Jimmy averted his face, the only part of him not black, and held his breath. For a long, terror-filled moment he hung in space, his arm and leg burning with fatigue at the strain of holding himself motionless. Not daring to look upward, he could only imagine what the two Nighthawks above might be doing. Even at this moment they could be drawing weapons. A crossbow could be aiming at his skull, and in an instant he could be dead, his life blotted out without warning. He heard feet scuffling about, labored breathing above, but he hung, and then a voice said, See? Nothing. Now leave it, or you'll be floating with the other garbage. Jimmy almost flinched when the trapdoor was slammed close above him. He silently counted to 10, then quickly scampered down the ladder to the water and moved off. With the bickering voices fading behind, Jimmy headed toward Teach's tannery and the way back to the palace. The night was half over, but the celebration was still in full swing. Jimmy hurried through the palace, ignoring the startled people he passed. This apparition in black was the most uncommon sight. He was battered, an angry lump decorating his visage, and he reeked of the sewer. Twice Jimmy asked the guards about the prince's whereabouts, and was informed he was en route to his private quarters. Jimmy passed a startled pair of familiar faces as Gardon and Rode, the mercenaries, stood speaking. The Knight Marshal of Crondor looked tired from a long day yet unfinished, and Laurie's boyhood friend looked half drunk. Since returning to Morelane, Rode had been a guest in the palace, though he still refused Gardon's constant offer of a place in Arutha's guard. Jimmy said, You better come along. Both took the boy at his word and fell into step. Jimmy said, You won't believe what they're up to this time. Neither man had to be told who they were. Gardon had just informed Rode of the upright man's warning, and both men had faced the Nighthawks and Black Slayers of Mermandamus at Arutha's side before. Rounding the corner, the three found Arutha about to open the door to his quarters. The prince halted, waiting for the three to come close, an expression of open curiosity on his face. Gardon said, Highness, Jimmy's discovered something. Arutha looked irritated as he said, Come along. I have a few things I must attend to at once, so you'll have to be brief. The prince pushed open the door and led them through the antechamber to his private council room as he reached the door for the door to open it. Rold's dark eyes widened. Before them stood another Arutha. The prince and the door looked at them, saying, What? Suddenly, both Aruthas were drawing weapons. Rold and Gardon hesitated. What their eyes told them was impossible. Jimmy watched as the two princes engaged each other in combat. The second Arutha, the one who had come from within, leaping back into the council chamber, gaining room to fight. Gardon shouted for the guards, and in a moment, a full dozen were approaching the door. Jimmy watched closely. The resemblance was uncanny. He knew Arutha as well as he knew anyone, but when the two men fought a furious duel, he couldn't tell them apart. The impostor even fought with the same skill with the blade as the prince. Gardon said, Seize them both! Jimmy shouted, Wait! If you grab the wrong one first, the impostor may kill him. Gardon instantly countermanded his own order. The two combatants thrusted and parried, moving about the room. Each man's face was set in a mask of grim determination. Then Jimmy raced across the room, no hesitation, marking his lunge for one of the men, striking out with his dirk. Jimmy knocked him backwards, and the guards flooded the room, seizing the other combatant. As Godon ordered, the Knight Marshal was uncertain what Jimmy was doing, but he was taking no chances. Both men would be held until the matter was sorted out. Jimmy grappled on the floor with one of the Aruthas, who struck out with a backhanded blow, stunning Jimmy and knocking him aside. That Arutha began to rise to his feet, then halted as Rold leveled his sword, point at the man's throat, and the man on the floor shouted, "The boy's gone mad! Guards, seize him!" Then, as he rose, he clutched his side. His hand came away covered in blood. The man looked pale and began to wobble. He appeared on the verge of fainting. The other Ruther stood quietly, enduring the restraining hands of the guards. Jimmy shook his head, clearing it from the effects. The second serious blow of the day. Seeing the condition of the wounded man, Jimmy yelled, "Wear a ring!" As the boy spoke, the wounded man placed his hand before his mouth, and as Rold and the guards seized him, he slumped down unconscious. Rold said, His royal signet was false. It's a poison ring, such as the others wore." The guards released the real Arutha, who said, "Did he use it?" Godon inspected the ring. "No, he passed out from his wound," Rold said. "The likeness is unbelievable. Jimmy, how'd you know?" I saw him in the sewers." "But how did you know who the imposter was?" asked Godon. The boots, they're covered in muck." Godon looked at Arutha's polished black boots and the impostor's mud-encrusted pair. Arutha said, "It's a good thing I didn't take a walk through Anita's newly planted garden today. You'd have had me in my own dungeon." Jimmy studied the fallen impostor and the real prince. Both men wore the same color of clothing. Jimmy said to Arutha, "When we came through the door, were you with us already in the room?" "I entered with you. He must have come into the palace with the late celebrants and simply walked into my quarters." Jimmy agreed. "He hoped to catch you and kill you, dump your body into one of the secret passages down the sewer and take your place. I don't think he could have maintained the charade long, but if only for a few days, he could have billixed things up around here to a fare thee well." "You've done well one more time, Jimmy," he asked Rold. "Oh, you have done well one more time, Jimmy," he asked Rold. "Will he live?" Rold examined. "I don't know. These lads have bothersome habit of dying when they shouldn't. They're not staying dead when they should." "Get Nathan and the others. Take him to the East Tower. Godon, you know what to do." Jimmy watched for Father Nathan. A priest of Song the White and one of Arutha's advisors examined the assassin. Each person who was admitted to the tower selected to house the prisoner was astonished at the likeness. Captain Valdis, a broad-shouldered man who had been Godon's chief lieutenant and had succeeded him as head of Arutha's guard, shook his head. "No wonder the lads did nothing but salute when he walked into the palace. Highness, he's your exact double." The wounded man lay tied to the bedposts. As before, when a Nighthawk had been captured, he had been stripped of his poison ring and any other possible means of committing suicide. Nathan stood away from the prisoner's side. The stocky priest said, "He's lost blood, and his breathing is shallow. It would be touch and go under normal circumstances." The normal... Is it... No, okay, so this is another word I keep forgetting. We had gone over this. Castle, I posted a page of my story in the guild for your feedback. I appreciate it, Esther. As soon as we are done, I'll go and give it a look. So this is... Chai... So it's pronounced Chirurgeon. 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 Okay. Chirurgeon. This is relaxing me, and that is hard to achieve because of my anxiety. That is the magic of the tavern, Brooke. It's a place of peace for us all, more or less. All right. Of course, Esther, of course. So the royal chirurgeon nodded agreement. I get peace here too, Castle. Eases my anxiety, so does Una, and I love it. Medieval surgeons. Yeah, they are medieval surgeons. I can never remember how to pronounce it. We'd gone over it once, and I hadn't seen the word in a while, but yes. The royal chirurgeon, which is like medieval surgeon, I think the word means like hand worker or something. Yes, I miss it. Miss what, Roderick? Where was I? Nodded in agreement.
I'd say he'll make it, Highness. If I hadn't seen their willingness to die before.
He looked out the window of the room as the morning light began to pour through. They had worked for hours repairing the damage Jimmy had done with his dirk. Arutha considered. The last attempt at interrogating a Nighthawk had produced only an animated corpse who had killed several guards and had almost murdered the High Priestess of Lim's Kragmar and the Prince himself. He said to Nathan,
If he regains consciousness, use what art you can to discover what he knows. If he dies, burn the body at once.
To Gardon, Jimmy, and Rold, he said,
Come with me.
and to Valdis,
Captain, double the guard at once, quietly.
Leaving the heavily guarded room, he led his companions towards his own quarters.
With Anita and the babies safely on their way to her mother's, I need only worry about rooting out these assassins before they find another way to reach me.
Gardon said,
But Her Highness hasn't left yet.
Arutha spun.
What? But she bade me goodbye at first light an hour ago.
Perhaps, sire. But it seems 1,000 details are still left. The baggage was only loaded a little while ago. The guards have been ready for 2 hours, but I don't think the carriages have left yet.
Then hurry, and make sure they're safe until they're gone.
Gardon ran off, and Arutha, Jimmy, and Rold continued on their way. Arutha said,
You know, what we face. Of all here, only those of us who are at Morelin truly know what sort of enemy stands before this. You also know it is war without quarter, until one side or the other ends in utter defeat.
Jimmy nodded, a little surprised at Arutha's tone. Something in this latest attack had touched a nerve. Since Jimmy had known the prince, Arutha had always been a cautious man, careful to consider all the information at his disposal in making the best judgment he was able. The only exception Jimmy had witnessed had been when Anita lay injured by Laughing Jack's errant crossbow bolt. Then Arutha had changed. Now, as when Anita was nearly killed, he again seemed a man on the edge of possession. A man full of rage at this invasion of his sanctum. The well-being of his person and his family was in jeopardy, and he showed a barely controlled killing rage towards those responsible.
Find Trevor Hull again, he told Jimmy. I want the best of his men ready to move after sundown tonight. Have him come with Cook as soon as possible. I want plans made with Gordon and Valdis. Rold, your task is to keep Laurie busy today. He's sure to realize something's amiss when I don't hold court this afternoon. Keep him preoccupied, perhaps with a visit to the old haunts in the city, and keep him away from the East Tower.
Jimmy looked surprised.
Now that he and Carline are married, I'll risk only one member of her family. He's just foolish enough to want to come along. Rord and Jimmy exchanged glances. Both anticipated what the prince had planned for tonight. Aruthan's expression became thoughtful. Go on. I've just remembered something I need to discuss with Nathan. Send word when Holes return. And without further discussion, they headed off to their appointed tasks, while the Ruther returned to the room to speak with the priest of song.
And so ends Chapter 2 of A Darkness at Sethanon by Raymond E. Feist. What a spectacular chapter. Crystal, hello, I'm late to the party, but I'm here and we're very glad to have you. Welcome in. It's wonderful to see you. Like the goose I am, I didn't even look there. Yeah, it is over in, it's probably in the writer's section there. It is, I love the way that Feist writes. He's very, very good at what he does. Alright, friends, I'm gonna pop up for a quick stretch. Good night, Brooke. Thank you for joining us. It's wonderful to see you. I'm gonna pop up for a quick stretch, and then when I come back, we'll chat for a bit and do some songs, shall we? Alright, I will be right back, friends. Behave yourselves. I shall return. I'm sorry that Facebook is having issues, Mary Beth. It has been a while, Roderick, but you've been in the last couple of nights, though. Well, not the last couple of nights, but I've seen you more recently. But I'm glad that you are making it in more often. Good night, Molly Sue. Rest well. Yeah. Okay, so Bear, you've got for me the Irish pub song, the Old Dun Cow, Drunken Nights, Help to the Company, and Danny Boy. I think that you're all well and good there. All right. Let us get some songs in, my friend. We're gonna mute the background music. And we're gonna bring up. I will see if the lady is feeling up to coming out and doing Savage Daughter. She's very sleepy because we Bethy, I don't know if you were in here, but we went to bed late last night because of work. We had a memorial service earlier today, and in the middle of the night, Milo, because his litter box was dirty, Milo came in where he felt safe, which was with us, and peed on the bed in the middle of the night. So we ended up having to get up and clean up the bed in the middle of the night. I must get to sleep. It's 4 a.m. here. Enjoyable as ever. Thank you, guys. Good night, Belinda. Yeah, we're going to be getting off here in a minute. We started way later than I would have liked to. But we're gonna sing a few songs, and then I'm gonna send you all off to bed. Yeah, the lady and I. Sid, thank you for joining as a super fan. I'd never gotten that notification before, but thank you for joining as a super fan over on TikTok. Tips to the Tavern Keeper, always appreciated. Thank you kindly. I can have her come out. She'd be happy to come and sing a song. She's in the back. Everett, can you ask your mother if she'd be willing to come out and give the people Savage Daughter in a minute? So we're gonna do the Irish pub song first. Now, for anybody who's never been in here for this, because I know some of you are new, usually in between chapters or when we're on breaks, and at the end, we sing shanties and ballads together. We don't sing well, we just sing because we enjoy it. Castle, please be advised the content posting guild has not been edited or proofread. It is presented in its current form, may not be suitable for all. That's all right, Esther. Yeah, people, there are a bunch of writers in the guild, and they post their rough work all the time for critique and feedback, so... No preamble needed. I'm sure people will enjoy. Family's doing well. The boy is in his first year of high school, and just started with a new curriculum, and he's having all kinds of fun with that. And the lady and I are doing quite well. We love what we do for work, and it is a privilege to be able to tell you all stories. My stuff has spicy scenes and coarse language. Yes, it does. Mike, thank you for the rose and for the you're awesome. No, you're awesome, Mike. And for the live, I appreciate you for it. Tips to the Tavern Keeper are always appreciated. We're all doing well, Esther. I appreciate you. The boy is well, Boo, and well, Boo is not feeling well. We'll have to take Boo to the vet because he's not been feeling well the last couple of days. He's had a chronic sinus issue as long as we've had him. But he's not been feeling well the last couple of days, so we're going to have to take him in to get him looked at. But otherwise, everyone's doing quite well. Good night, Kayla. Rest well. I appreciate you, Baird. You're a beast. I will tell him that you say hi, Roderick. All right, let's get this Irish pub song down. Okay. Well, you're walking through a city street, you could be in Peru, and you hear a distant calling, and you know it's meant for you. Then you drop what you're doing,
and you join the merry mob, and before you know just where you are, you're in an Irish pub. They've got one in Honolulu, they've got one in Moscow too. They got 4 of him in Sydney and a couple in Kathmandu. So whether you sing or pull a pint, you'll always have a job, 'cause wherever you go around the world you find an Irish pub. Now the design is fairly simple, and it usually works the same. You'll have Razor Houghton scoring in the Ireland-England game. And you know you're in an Irish pub the minute you're in the door, for a couple of boys in Borans will be murdering Christy Moore. They've got one in Honolulu, they've got one in Moscow too. They got 4 of him in Sydney and a couple in Kathmandu. So whether you sing or pull a pint, you've always got a job, 'cause wherever you go around the world you find an Irish pub. I know I'm a weirdo for making notes of all these things. Not at all. That's helpful. Data is power, as far as I know. Falcor was raiding us earlier. Not right now. Falcor raided us a few hours ago. Now the owner is Norwegian, and the manager comes from Cork. Oh, the lad who's holding up the bar says only just work. He was born and bred in Bolton, but his mammy's from Kildare. And he's going to make his fortune soon and move to County Clare. I came back to say eat the waffles. Thank you, Kayla. Get some rest. We'll see you on Thursday. I appreciate you. They've got one in Honolulu, they've got one in Moscow too. They got 4 of him in Sydney and a couple in Kathmandu. So whether you sing or pull a pint, you'll always have a job, 'cause wherever you go around the world you find an Irish pub. Now it's time for me to go, I have to catch me train. So leave you sitting at the bar to face the wind and rain. But I'll have that pint you owe me if I'm not gone on the dry, when we meet next week in Frankfurt in the fields of Athenry. They've got one in Honolulu, they've got one in Moscow too. They got 4 of him in Sydney and a couple in Kathmandu. So whether you sing or pull a pint, you'll always have a job, 'cause wherever you go around the world you find an Irish pub. Oh, they've got one in Honolulu, they've got one in Moscow too. They got 4 of him in Sydney and a couple in Kathmandu. So whether you sing or pull a pint, you'll always have a job, 'cause wherever you go around the world you find an Irish pub. Wherever you go around the world you find an Irish pub. Ah! Lovely.
Was I summoned?
Bethany had wondered if you would be willing to give her Savage Daughter.
I can certainly give it a go. I just filled up my tummy.
You just filled up your tummy,
Oh, did
so you'll be all tummy full. My cell is buffering. No, I mean I got a notification that said she's live, so you can rate us. Oh, right. Yeah, absolutely, we can do that. Thank you for clarifying, Bethany. I appreciate you. We're going to take all of the tavern travelers and lantern bearers and take them back over to Falcor, because she raided into us earlier. So
Oh, she's back on. Okay.
yeah. So
Very good.
all right. Maddie, what did you said your sister's cat had to be put down?
It's going to have to be put down on Thursday.
Oh, that's sad. That is sad. Well, we're hoping that it's not that bad with Boo. He's been sick since as long as we've had him, and it's just never gone away. And some cats get chronic infections in their sinuses, and it's just really hard to get rid of it. Let's see, where was it? I see. No, I don't know the Old Dun Cow by heart, Bear. So I'll have to do that one on Thursday. But let's go ahead and we'll do 7 Drunken Nights next. We'll do 7 Drunken Nights, and then we'll do a Hell to the Company. Do you want to sing now, Lovey, or do you want to wait until after all of the other songs?
No.
All right.
Since I am here.
Since you are here, of course. And then we'll do. Mike says hello. He waves hi
Hello.
over on TikTok.
And hello to everyone.
And then we'll do Danny Boy. All right. At your mark, my darling.
Ready? Can you hear me okay from here?
They certainly can now.
Okay. Hello, Esther.
Yeah, but really 5 nights. It's not 7 drunken nights, it's 5 drunken nights. Good night, Frost. Yeah, we're going to be ending up soon here, brother, so go ahead and get some rest. I appreciate you. Thank you for sticking it out, mate.
Ready?
Ready.
I am my mother's savage daughter, the one who runs barefoot, cursing sharp stones. I am my mother's savage daughter. I will not cut my hair. I will not lower my voice. My mother's child is a savage. She looks for her romance in the colors of stones, in the faces of cats, in the falling of feathers, in the dancing of fire, in the curve of old bones. I am my mother's savage daughter, the one who runs barefoot, cursing sharp stones. I am my mother's savage daughter. I will not cut my hair. I will not lower my voice. My mother's child dances in darkness. She sings heathen songs by the light of the moon, and watches the stars and renames the planets, and dreams she can reach them with a song and a broom. I am my mother's savage daughter, the one who runs barefoot, cursing sharp stones. I am my mother's savage daughter. I will not cut my hair. I will not lower my voice. We are all brought forth out of darkness into this world through blood and through pain, and deep in our bones the old songs are waking, so sing them with voices of thunder and rain. We are our mother's savage daughters, the ones who run barefoot, cursing sharp stones. We are our mother's savage daughters. We will not cut our hair. We will not lower our voice.
Lovely. Bethany says, thank you, Uno, for still singing. Castle told me all you've been through in the last 24 to 48 hours, after which I did give him the option to not ask you to sing, saying I'd ask you on Sunday.
It's okay.
Happy to do
I
it.
was a little reedy, but
Maddie,
get through the whole thing.
Maddie says, Una has such a beautiful voice.
Well, thank you.
We don't know exactly how old Boo is, Roderick. We believe he's about 5 years old. And
Yeah,
he's
5 or
been
6.
he's not been healthy as long as we've had him, but it's nothing that we could fix. It's just stuff that we've had to like work around with him. But it's been the last 2 weeks or so he's been very lethargic. But he's had like intestinal issues and sinus issues as long as we've had him. Yeah, we haven't had him tested for that, but it's very likely that might be it, Esther, and or he's just had a really bad bacterial infection, because the people that he lived with before us, they had a very dirty house, so it's very possible that he got a bacterial infection when he was
Like,
living
they
with his other
were-
family.
I think they were a private rescue, and I think they were probably just overloaded.
Yeah,
So when we got him, he was a lot thinner. and not super healthy, and we took him anyway. He did get better after eating properly, and yeah, I don't know.
But
See, we'll take him in.
I don't know if it's because of Milo or what, but the last couple of weeks he hasn't been eating as much because Milo's been getting a lot bigger. So we don't really know exactly what happened, but part of it is that Milo stresses him out. Because Milo's a lot. Milo is that extra friend that has too much energy.
He's still a kitten, so
But we're gonna take him in to see what's wrong with him and see if there's anything else we can do. Best course of action is to have Boo checked out as soon as possible. We would never, unless there was no other way to make sure that he wasn't going to be in pain. I don't put down animals unless they're already on their way out, Esther. So if he's just a minor inconvenience, which he's been a minor inconvenience since we got him, so
just sometimes he's like breathing through his mouth because he's struggling to breathe
Yeah.
through his nose. So he has drops. and
Joe, thank
that
you for the
helps.
follow over on TikTok. We appreciate that. Thank you for marking the tavern on your map. I feel called out as the friend with too much energy. Yeah, you were who I was talking about, Matty. Yeah. Well, and we all of our animals are dysfunctional, so
Yeah.
they're all dysfunctionals. They're all rescues. So
Dysfunctional house.
we didn't realize until after we got him that Milo came from a kitten mill. So because the guy who sold him to us actually ended up having his entire account taken down because it was a shady kitten mill. So
Yeah, I think it just was an unofficial breeder.
yeah, we kind of end up with older misfits here in the tavern. Well, and Boo has always struggled to eat because he has a hard time breathing. So we wait a while and we make sure that he gets food. But yeah, it is always a struggle for us to get him to eat and drink, but he's been particularly lethargic about it the last couple of weeks, which is why we're worried about it and why we're going to take him in. And yeah, Matty, we are getting robbed of a couple of nights. We missed the last 2 nights because the last 2 nights are heavily inappropriate. They're not really that inappropriate, but I would probably get banned on TikTok for singing them. My cat was severely ill. I took her to the vet and she underwent emergency surgery. Yeah, I'm hoping it's nothing that's so bad with Boo. I think it's more they're probably going to give us antibiotics, which may or may not help, but we'll see. Castle, I know you love me, but are you buying the cat versions of me now? By accident entirely, Maddie. I love you to death, but I would not intentionally bring you into my home 24/7. All right. 7 drunken nights, my friends. We got a new kitten too. Yeah, Milo is the new kitten that came here at home, and he's not a kitten. Well, he's only 6 months old, 6 to 8 months old, but he's already massive. He's bigger than Boo already. Yeah, I think that it all is chained together, and we'll just have to see what happens. My first job was a no-kill shelter. Ended up adopting a blind dog named Ringo. I love the hopeless. Yeah, my last dog was a pit bull who was a fight dog that had been used as a bait dog and then dumped in the desert. And they were going to put him down, and I ended up taking him in. And when I split up with the woman who I was dating before, Una and I got engaged. This was years ago now. She ended up keeping him, and I haven't seen him in a very long time, but I love that dog. Yeah, he's bigger than Boo now, and he actually almost goes up to Coda's tummy, and Coda is like an 80-pound dog. Coda is huge. So he's almost to the bottom of Coda's tummy. I mean, I'd be shocked if anyone could handle that 24/7. Milo is that 24/7. Coda's good. We can have him come over. Coda, come say hi. Come say hello. Up up. Up up. Good boy. See, there he is. Big, beautiful guy. Just being a pain in the butt. Oh my gosh, you stink. Go away. You need a bath. Get out of here. It smells so bad.
You're so stinky. Go to the boy. It smells so bad. His breath is so bad. Oh, he's a beautiful dog, but gosh, he's so stinky right now. It's been so sweaty and hot out here that he's just been like licking himself a bunch, so he just smells terrible. All right, let's do this. 7 drunken nights, but we're only gonna do 5 of them. Oh, as I went home on a Monday night, as drunk could be, I saw a horse outside the door where my old horse should be. Well, I called me wife and I says to her, would you kindly tell to me who owns that horse outside the door where my old horse should be? Ah, you drunk, you silly old fool, still you cannot see. That's a lovely sow that me mother sent to me. Well, it's many a days I've travelled, 100 miles or more, but a saddle on sow sure I've never seen before. And as I went home on a Tuesday night, as drunk could be, I saw a coat behind the door where my old coat should be. Well, I called me wife and I says to her, would you kindly tell to me who owns that coat behind the door where my old coat should be? Ah, you drunk, you silly old fool, still you cannot see. That's a woolen blanket that me mother sent to me. Well, it's many a days I've travelled, 100 miles or more, but buttons on a blanket sure I never saw before. And as I went home on a Wednesday night, as drunk could be, I saw a pipe upon the chair where my own pipe should be. I called my wife and I says to her, would you kindly tell to me who owns that pipe upon the chair where my old pipe should be? Ah, you drunk, you silly old fool, still you cannot see. That's a lovely tin whistle that me mother sent to me. Well, it's many a days I've travelled, 100 miles or more, but tobacco in a tin whistle sure I've never saw before. And as I went home on a Thursday night, as drunk could be, I saw 2 boots beneath the bed where my old boots should be. So I called my wife and I said to her, would you kindly tell to me who owns those boots beneath the bed where my old boots should be? Ah, you drunk, you silly old fool, till you cannot see. Those are lovely geranium pots me mother sent to me. Well, it's many a days I've travelled, 100 miles or more, but laces in geranium pots I've never saw before. And as I went home on a Friday night, as drunk could be, I saw a head upon the bed where my own head should be. Well, I called my wife and I says to her, would you kindly tell to me who owns the head upon the bed where my old head should be? Ah, you drunk, you silly old fool, still you cannot see. That's a baby boy that me mother sent to me. Well, it's many a days I've travelled, 100 miles or more, but a baby boy with his whiskers on I never saw before. Oh, a baby boy with his whiskers on I never saw before. Da 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 da. And that's 7 drunken nights, my friends. Absolutely lovely. Okay, all right. Now, do we want to do Danny Boy? Or do we want to do a health to the company? Nice, that was good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I still can't believe I made Erin believe I died. I'm impressed with myself. I'm glad you liked it, Esther. I've been waiting all night, brother. I'm glad you enjoyed Mike. Should we do Danny Boy first, or should we do a health to the company first? Is it just me, or did Castle sound more drunk the more the week went on? Yes, that's how you're supposed to sing it, Bethany. Traditionally, the way that you sing it is each night you're supposed to sound progressively more drunk. Most people don't sing it that way, which is unfortunate, because that's the way it's supposed to be sung. Thank Udo for the lovely song. I most certainly will, Lester. But yeah, you're supposed to sound progressively more drunk as the nights go on. All right, Bethany, Danny Boy first, and then a health of the company second. All right. It was a good rendition of a drunk. I like it. All right, let's do Danny Boy first. Let's do. I actually like the Peter Hollins version of this. Let's do that one. I would actually, if you wanted to be accurate and use those names, I would do Sept rather than saying clan. I would say Sept Dagda or Sept Morgan, because that means it is a sept or a offshoot of that individual. Is how I would go about it, Maddie. You can message me about it and we'll talk about it. Yeah, it's oh, so on night 6, he goes, as I came home on Saturday night, as drunk could be, I saw 2 hands upon the breasts where my own hand should be. So I called my wife and I says to her, "Will you kindly tell to me who owns those hands upon those breasts where my own hands should be?" Yeah, sept. So S-E-P-T, second one. A sept is a sub-clan of a larger clan. You have clans, you have family, you have clans, families, and then you have septs. And then the last night, it depends on, there's a couple of versions of it, but he goes, I saw a thing inside the thing where my own thing should be. So I calls my wife and I says to her, "Would you kindly tell to me who owns that thing inside your thing where my own thing should be?" Is the way that the song goes. It's absolutely ridiculous. There's a coming, apparently, Esther, apparently. Okay. So Danny Boy first, then a health to the company. Let's do it. Yes, Sept. Like September. I don't know if I'm really hit the notes in this, but let's do it anyways. Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone, and all the flowers are dying. 'Tis you, must go, and I must bite. But come ye back when summer's in the meadows, or when the valleys hushed and white with snow, and I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. But when you come, when all the flowers are dying, if I am dead,
as dead I well may be. I pray you'll find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me. And I will hear the soft dew tread above me, and on my grave will warmer, sweeter be. For you will come and tell me that you love me, and I will sleep in peace until you come to me. I will sleep in peace until you come to me. It's a little bit off, a little bit pitchy. That's all right though. Sword Talk, hello! Good to see you, my friend. Damn, I can't remember who asked for Danny Boy in the chat. Won't let me go that far back. I don't remember either. It's okay. Thank you for the song. So very glad that you enjoyed, Esther, as always. All right. Final one. We're gonna have. No, we don't want that version. We want this version. Yes. We're gonna sing a health to accompany. Thanks for entertaining me. Good night, my friend. Good night, Mike. Thank you for your generosity. The rose and all of the others. It is deeply appreciated. Rest well, and may you rise tomorrow, ready to face the day. Stay bloodthirsty, my friend. We'll see you for the next one, alright? Sword Talk is over on TikTok, Matty. Okay. We're ending up on a health to the company. Let's do it. Kind friends and companions, come join me in rhyme. Come lift up your voices in chorus with mine. Come lift up your voices, O grief to refrain. For we may or might never all meet here again. Here's a health to the company, and one to my lass. Let us drink and be merry, all out of one glass. Let us drink and be merry, O grief to refrain. For we may or might never all meet here again. Bear, it was Mike over on TikTok who requested Danny Boy. Here's a health to the dear lass that I love so well. For her style and her beauty, sure none can excel. There's a smile on her countenance as she sits on my knee. There's no man in this wide world as happy as me. Here's a health to the company, and one to my lass. Let us drink and be merry, all out of one glass. Let us drink and be merry, O grief to refrain. For we may or might never all meet here again. Our ship lies at anchor,
She's ready to dock. We wish her safe landing without any shock. If ever I should meet you by land or by sea, I will always remember your kindness to me. So here's a health to the company, and one to my lass. Let us drink and be merry, all out of one glass. Let us drink and be merry, all grief to refrain. For we may or might never all meet here again. For we may or might never all meet here again. Cheers, friends. It's time to drink it down to the air. Cheers, of course, man. I appreciate you. Castle, thank you for the wonderful evening and the storytelling. The music were exceptional. I wish you a restful night. Without a doubt, it will be a restful night, so I appreciate you for it. Also, I'm doing a simpler version of my tabletop RPG alongside the more full-blown one I got. I realized I went overboard. A bit. Just a bit, Matty. Milu, cheers. Everyone who stuck around this late, a glass raised to all of you. It is you, the wonderful patrons of the tavern, who make this a wonderful place. So, let's get prepared to raid back out over to the book dragons, and I will send the rest of you off. For everyone else, thank you all kindly for your love and for your attention here in the tavern. The doors will open again on Thursday, hopefully on time. Shouldn't be any reason why it wouldn't be. And the lady and I thank you all for the love and time that you spend here in the tavern. It means the world to us. So, until the very next time... No, I just know that you went overboard, Matty. That's your MO is going overboard. Roderick, thank you for the story and for the songs. It was great to be back. It was wonderful to have you back, Roderick. Teresa, good night. Tyson, rest well, my friend. Thank you for the coins, brother. Stay bloodthirsty to all of you. Until the very next time we meet again. It's sad the doors are closing, but they will open again. And when they do, we will see you next time. Good night, my friends. We'll see you then.
See you. How are you? One's got the closest guess to how many jelly beans There you go. Your whole beliefs of science, magic, religion, are the same thing seen in 3 different lenses. Right. Black Dragon.